Okay, let's continue to the next subtopic, which is the cash flow table. Before we talk about the cash flow table, what is a cash flow? Cash flow is a net amount of cash and cash equivalents being transferred into and out of a business. At the most fundamental level, a company's ability to create value for shareholders is determined by its ability to generate positive cash flow, or more specifically maximize long-term free cash flow, which is FCF. So, how cash flow is used? Assessing the amount, timing, and uncertainty of cash flows is one of the most basic objectives of financial reporting. Understanding the cash flow statement, which reports operating cash flow, investing cash flow, and financing cash flow, is essential for assessing a company's liquidity, flexibility, and overall financial performance. Positive cash flow indicates that a company's liquid assets are increasing, enabling it to settle debt, reinvest in its business, return money to shareholders, pay expenses, and provide a buffer against future financial challenges. Analyzing cash flow, debt service coverage ratio. Even profitable companies can fail if their operating activities do not generate enough cash to stay liquid. This can happen if profits are tied up in outstanding accounts receivable and overstocked inventory, or if a company spends too much on capital expenditure. Investor and creditor therefore want to know if the company has enough cash and cash equivalent to settle short-term liabilities. To see if a company can meet its current liabilities with the cash it generates from operation, analysts look at the debt service coverage ratio. Debt service coverage ratio equal to net operating income divided by short-term debt obligation, also referred to as debt service. Free cash flow. To understand the true profitability of the business, analysts look at free cash flow. It is a really useful measure of financial performance that tells a better story than net income because it shows what money the company has left over to expand the business or return to shareholders after paying dividends, paying back stock, or paying off debt. Free cash flow equal to operating cash flow minus capital expenditure. Unlevered free cash flow. For a measure of the gross free cash flow generated by a firm, use unlevered free cash flow. This is company's cash flow excluding interest payment, and it shows how much cash is available to the firm before taking financial obligation into account. The difference between levered and unlevered free cash flow shows if the business is overextended or operating with a healthy amount of debt.
Welcome to this screencast.
And lastly,
We
the
are
cash
going to
flow table.
quickly build up a
I
cash
will
flow
show you
table
a video
using normal English
how
words.
to
This
do
is
a cash
for
flow
my
table.
ICT GCSE students in 2016-17. Here's my table, and I'm going to start by putting the months of the year at the top. You found doing your research that a cash flow is checking how much money comes into your business or your organization at the start of each month, how much money goes out each month, and then you add it all up to see if you got any money left in your bank account at the end. Here are some column headings I've made earlier. Now, as I said, I don't want to use any keyword. If you do study business studies, you're welcome to use the proper business keywords for this. If you do not do it, just use normal English. And we start with knowing with how much money we've got in the bank at the start of the month. And the start of January is also the start of the year. So this number you've got, if it hasn't been given to you, you just make it up. So let's use a nice round number, 1,000 at the start of the year in the bank. Now, if we have a sports club, an amateur sports club, so we are going to maybe have some member fees paid in. We might have a grant from the council, and let's say that we've got a sponsorship with a local business. So members fees, if each member puts in a tenner every month and is paid every 3 months, and you've got 11 football players, so you've got well, a bit more. Let's say we've got 3,300 pounds of fees coming in every 3 months. Now, for our grant, that will be a once a year, sponsorship once a year as well. So total in is going to be a formula equals sum, open bracket, and just drag across all the lines you've got in your money coming in. There we are. Now a sports club, so we're going to rent a football pitch. We are going to have some expenses, so we're going to have to buy some kit. We are going to have to pay for some travel costs, and let's say that there is an internet website, so there's a website to pay for, and maybe let's say there's a phone, a mobile phone that we've got. So we've got all these costs, and our rent is going to be always the same every month, so £100 of well, it's a bit cheap, let's say yeah, £500 of 500 I said every month in rent. Kit will be a one-off, so I leave it blank for January. Travel, let's just say half a tank full of petrol, £35. The website is a fixed fee of £10 a month, and the mobile, there's a very cheap let's just say, I don't know, £8 a month for the mobile. All right, so total out, same thing again, equals sum, open your bracket, drag the mouse across, there we go. And now, how much money have we got in the bank at the end of the month? Well, you calculate this by starting with how much you have at the start of the month, then you add how much comes in during the month, and you take away how much goes out. There we are. Now, what we are going to do, we could, well, in a minute, we are going to copy and paste all of this across the whole of the year. But before I explain that, we need to make it clear that the money at the start of February in the bank is the same than what you have in the bank at the end of January. So you've got this diagonal, this number here, you need the same one up there, and then this diagonal, this is going to be copied all the way across from one month to the next until you get to December. The number you will have here will be the one that will be the starting point for next year cash flow, but we don't need to worry about that at this moment in time. So let's just take all of this and then copy it here. Now you could drag it across, but see how this increments some of these numbers automatically. So I don't want to do that. I'll do Ctrl Z to this time take everything including money in at the start of the month, and I use copy and paste instead of dragging, and put it all in there. So this sports club is doing very well. As you can see, its money is increasing all the time, but there is a small problem. I did say that members fees were paid in every 3 months, so let's correct this. The rent goes out every month, that's right. Travel, yes, so those costs are the same. That's all right. Now, at this moment in time, it's important to use these numbers that have been, you've picked them up out of a hat. They may not be the correct one, but this is important in order to test your spreadsheet. Now, let's say that at the start of the financial year, so in mid-April, the council is going to give us a grant of £1,000. Let's see how that changes everything in your cash flow. The rent is a bit unrealistic considering how much money this club has got. So let's say that the rent was £1,000 instead of 500. If I copy this across, all right, that's a bit more realistic for sports clubs. So you've got a bit of money at the start of the year, you got a bit more at the end. That starts to be a bit more what we expect to see. We can say that in the autumn there's a sponsorship deal, £500, and then we can also say that there is a one-off payment for brand new kit after receiving the council grant. So sometimes in May we are going to spend £1,000 on kit. So this club is still doing very well. You start the year with £1,000, you finish the year with £2,000, and if you want to do a bit of what if analysis, what you could do, and then this is doing it by hand, this is giving you an idea of what a what if analysis is. It's not yet looking into more complicated method to do it, but an amateur club who starts with 1,000 finishes with 2,000, some of the members could actually say, hold on a minute, can you lower our fees? There's a recession going on at the moment, this is getting a bit expensive. So if instead of £3,000, let's say that in May instead of 3,300 we only get 3,000 from our 11 members, and that this number is going to be carried across throughout this new financial year. What impact does this have on our club? Well, this club is still very healthily making a profit during the year of, if you start with 1,000, you finish with 1,464, so you got £464 profit. So this is how you can use your cash flow to model some different scenario. I hope this has been useful to you, and make sure to apply this in your coursework.